Hello and welcome. I'm Janice Parente, the founder and president of HRA Canada. I'm very honored and proud to introduce the presentation, Human Research Accreditation of a Canadian Academic Health Centre, a first for Canada. On March 25th, 2020, Horizon Health Network of New Brunswick, one of Canada's largest health networks, achieved accreditation of its Human Research Protection Program from HRA Canada. This presentation will outline the accreditation process that Horizon experienced and the significance of this milestone for the organization and for Canada. Presenting on behalf of HRA Canada is Alex Karabanow, the chair of the Accreditation Council and Research and Academy Scholar for the Institute for Education Research at University Health Network. And from Horizon Health Network, we have Jacquelyn Legere, Horizon's Human Research Protection Program Director. So, over to you, Alex.
Janice, thank you for the gracious introduction. And I'm so happy that you're all able to join us today to discuss the historic accreditation of Horizon Health Network's Human Research Protection Program. We will start off the webinar by briefly going over what is a Human Research Protection Program, or HRPP, and how it has become the currency of human research quality all across the world. We will then cover the basic elements of the HRPP accreditation application process. And finally, my colleague and friend, Jacquelyn Legere, will discuss the experience of Horizon Health Network in achieving their accreditation. When I speak about human research accreditation, I like to start by saying that we've had a program for patient care accreditation in Canada for about 100 years. You can see that represented on the right of your slide. For approximately the past 50 years, we've also had a program to accredit sites engaged in animal research. This is shown on the left side of the screen. Can you believe that we have not had a similar program for human research until 2018, just only 2 years ago? I hope you're as surprised as I was to learn that. In the context of human research, accreditation is associated with an organization's HRPP. But what exactly is a Human Research Protection Program? Most people first think we are referring to the organization's Research Ethics Board, or REB. But the REB is only one component of an HRPP. All of us involved in research know that many other groups are also involved. For example, we know that contracts have to be set up, privacy may need to be involved, and others need to review conflicts of interest or other aspects of research integrity and responsible conduct of research. In hospitals and other larger organizations, biosafety, radiation safety, pharmacy, and various other regulatory and compliance groups may also need to be involved, as well as those providing services or conducting impact assessments on organizational resources. Altogether, these groups that are part of an organization's program to protect research participants are collectively referred to as the Human Research Protection Program. This HRPP is usually under a unified leadership, whether it is a person, a committee, or a board, and the leadership is responsible for 1, the training of staff, 2, quality assurance of the program, 3, ensuring that funding and resources are appropriate for the volume and complexity of the research conducted at the organization, 4, making sure that procedures are in place and updated regularly, and finally, 5, that staff are qualified for the work they are assigned and that they are regularly trained on these procedures. When viewed as a properly functioning system, the activities of the HRPP are monitored and audited to ensure that all of these components are functioning properly and updated periodically. I would also like to point out that the HRPP is usually involved in education of the organization's larger complement of staff on the responsible conduct of research and on the focus of protection of human research participants, thus creating and supporting the development of a safety culture at the organization. Therefore, accreditation of an HRPP will allow the organization to operate at the highest levels. The main benefits of human research accreditation are, first, safety. The organization operates at the highest ethical standards for safeguarding the rights and welfare of research participants. Second, quality. The organization's procedures meet or exceed all federal, provincial, and local regulations, policies, or guidelines. Third, accountability. The organization implements continuous quality improvement, which makes it accountable for all of its human research activities. Fourth, cost effectiveness. With thorough record keeping and comprehensive procedures, the organization is less likely to experience downtime due to regulatory inspections and experience fewer audit findings. Fifth, rapid startup. With streamlined policies and procedures, the organization will experience increased efficiencies that are documented and translated into practice. Sixth, efficiency. The organization will be able to collaborate with other accredited HRPPs in Canada and across the world. Finally, integrity. Accreditation allows the organization to develop and maintain a robust culture of responsible human conduct at all levels. Overall, the goal of HRPP accreditation is to ensure the public trust in research and the protection of research participants. We want participants to feel safe and secure in deciding to participate in research. We want the public to feel confident in the results generated by the research enterprise. And finally, we want sponsors, funders, and other stakeholders to feel confident that their investment will produce reliable and verifiable results in an efficient and low-risk environment. Another major goal of accreditation, especially in the Canadian Federation and internationally, is that an accredited HRPP can collaborate seamlessly with other accredited HRPPs. This would go a long way to bring all Canadian research organizations on a level playing field without the need for further regulation. Human Research Accreditation Canada, Canada's human research accreditation body, recently created a sister organization called Human Research Standards Organization, which has itself been accredited by the Standards Council of Canada to be a standards development organization. That will allow it to develop national human research standards for all of Canada. Please look out for an upcoming webinar on the development of the first national standards for human research in Canada. Now on this slide, you can see the first step of the HRPP accreditation application process. By submitting a short request form on the Human Research Accreditation Canada website, you can obtain the accreditation application form. Once completed and it is determined what type of organization is asking to be accredited, the relevant standards would be outlined and an accreditation manager assigned. Standards currently exist for various types of organizations: research ethics boards or independent review boards, contract research organizations or CROs, and investigative sites. We are also planning to develop standards for biobanks in the near future. If organizations have more than one of these components, then the standards for each would apply. The most important part of the process is called the Standard Operating Procedure, or SOP mapping process. This is done by the organization's representatives with guidance from the accreditation manager. In essence, it involves mapping the existing SOPs of the organization to the relevant standards and determining which are complete, which are missing, and which may need revision or rewriting. The organization will determine who does what, set up timelines, and the accreditation can help guide them through the process. Once all the SOPs are matched to the relevant standards, the accreditation manager will schedule an on-site assessment visit. The organization will nominate site reviewers to review the SOPs and other relevant accreditation material. The Accreditation Council will vet the nominations and either approve or recommend other site reviewers. Once these are agreed upon with the organization, the site visit will be scheduled for 1 or more days, depending on the size and complexity of the applicant organization. During the site visit, The site reviewers will review the organization's procedures against the relevant accreditation standards. They will ensure that they can be easily implemented and document any findings in the on-site assessment report. This report will be reviewed by the organization staff, and they will be given the opportunity to address and respond to any findings before the end of the visit and again after the visit in writing. When the feedback from the organization is received and incorporated in the final on-site assessment report, this information, along with any relevant accreditation application documents or materials, are forwarded to the Accreditation Council. The Council is independent of the administration of Human Research Accreditation Canada. None of the Council members are employed by HRA Canada, and the Council is representative of experts from various sectors of the research enterprise across Canada. The Council will review the material at a meeting and will generally have three possible outcomes. Either they grant accreditation, they request for modifications, or decide not to grant accreditation. Any request for modification or additional information would be considered by the Council. If granted accreditation, it is for a 5-year term with annual on-site assessments required to ensure that practices are in accordance with accredited procedures, and also to collect performance metrics. And these metrics would be used to see changes in performance over time at accredited organizations. I hope you have found this overview useful, and now I'm going to pass the baton to Jacquelyn Legere, who can describe Horizon's experience through the accreditation process. Jackie, on to you.
Thank you, Alex. So my portion of this webinar will involve an introduction to the Horizon Health Network. So we're going to do an introduction to the Horizon Health Network. We'll discuss our experience with developing the Horizon HRPP. We'll detail working with HRA Canada through the accreditation process and next steps for our HRPP now that we're accredited for the next 5 years. New Brunswick has 2 regional health authorities since the amalgamation of 8 regional health authorities in 2008. The province now has Vitalite Health Network and Horizon Health Network, which covers roughly 2/3 of the province. We receive approximately 125 new study applications per year, of which 30 to 45 are regulated clinical trials. However, the majority of our submissions are investigator-initiated research studies involving observational studies and survey-based studies. We have over 500 active and open research studies, and most of our areas of active research for clinical trials are in oncology, cardiology, infectious disease, and emergency medicine. 3 of our hospitals, the top 3 pictures shown above, are where most of our clinical trials take place. We have an affiliation with Dalhousie Medicine New Brunswick, as their students have a mandatory research component called Research in Medicine, and most of their projects involve our patients at Horizon and our Horizon patient data. We are in close proximity to the University of New Brunswick, so we have a lot of learner research from their departments of psychology and nursing as well. So our Human Research Protection Program became effective as of July 1st, 2018. The HRPP was approved by Horizon senior leadership mid-June 2018, as it was recognized that research oversight required a more coordinated organizational approach. Its intent is to ensure that all research studies meet requirements for sound methodology, regulatory compliance and privacy, and finally, ethical research conduct. It is also meant to provide access to education and to provide quality oversight through its auditing program. So why did Horizon Health Network develop the HRPP? Well, there are many parts to protecting participants' rights in research, and an HRPP ensures shared responsibility between those parts. Before the HRPP, we were finding that research studies were being initiated without data sharing agreements in place, for example, and this is problematic because even with REB approval, the organization as a custodian is obligated under the legislation to enter into an appropriate agreements for data release. Also before the HRPP, we were receiving requests for data analysis on collected data within approved research studies where the design was not appropriate for the type of research question. Essentially, before the HRPP, we recognized that if a study did not have a contract, like a clinical trial, we didn't know about it. That's problematic when you don't have a shared system of communication between the entities that are responsible for research. So our HRPP now ensures we have a shared responsibility between the institution, the REB, and the investigators. So why did we apply for accreditation? In establishing our processes, as we had to do so quite expeditiously, we really wanted to ensure that we were adhering to the relevant regulations and guidelines governing research conduct, particularly where our HRPP model was a bit unconventional, as it's being coordinated out of the Office of Research Services. We felt that accreditation through HRA Canada would be the most appropriate and responsible way to ensure we were conducting ourselves in accordance with best practice and against the set of standards derived from the guidelines and regulations. It was extremely important for us to undergo this high-level peer review process to become accredited, as it demonstrated our commitment to ensuring participant safety, and it also validated our processes. So a brief summary of the accreditation process. The entire process took just a little over a year from when the application was submitted. And following the completion of the form, we were assigned an accreditation manager from HRA, and we received an SOP map. In return, we provided a copy of our current SOPs, and from there, we did a gap analysis of our current SOPs compared to the standards, created or revised SOPs as required. This took the majority of our time and consumed approximately 8 months. Once our SOPs were finalized, we had an on-site assessment mid-January 2020, following which our final accreditation package was submitted to the Accreditation Council. And as of March 25th, 2020, Horizon Health Network became the first health authority in Canada to be accredited through HRA Canada for a period of 5 years. So what is involved in an HRPP review exactly? The HRPP is coordinated out of the Office of Research Services through the director. So we will review the organizational structure a little bit later. We have an online submission portal, so when a study is submitted, ORS is notified and the appropriate HRPP staff are alerted to initiate the review for regulatory compliance, privacy, and that the proposed methodology is appropriate for the type of research question. Our methods review is similar to how TCPS2 describes scholarly review. However, the REB is obligated by GCP to conduct a science review of regulated clinical trials. Once our review is complete, we forward it to the REB for their ethical review. ORS turnaround time is approximately 2 to 5 days, however, can be longer for projects that require researcher clarification. When we were developing our SOPs with the guidance of our HRA manager, we dedicated most of our time and effort on SOP number 1, which articulates the authority and scope of the HRPP. We really wanted to ensure that our mandate was clearly articulated, that our organizational chart was clear, and that roles and responsibilities within the HRPP were transparent and unambiguous. And above all, were in alignment with the corresponding leadership standard. This is how we operate, so we wanted to make sure that we were getting it right. So with our mandate, we wanted to ensure that it reflected the scope and the intent of our program. Typically, bullets 1 and 4 are associated with our REBs, but we included the other parts as well to reflect the systematic approach to research oversight through our shared responsibility model. And this is our organizational chart. Our VP is the institutional authority for the HRPP. He ensures the HRPP has adequate resources, is adequately insured, and has access to legal counsel, and that the REB functions independently from Horizon with respect to its deliberations and decisions. The Regional Director of Research supports the HRPP Director with the ongoing operation of the program. The Regional Director of Ethics oversees the operation of the REB, and the HRPP Director has responsibility delegated by the VP to ensure resources are in place for auditing, that regulatory and methods reviews are conducted, and that researchers and investigators under the HRPP are fulfilling their responsibilities. So with our SOP development, we assembled our SOP team, which included ORS members and REB members as well. We provided the accreditation manager with our existing SOPs to map against the standards. And we developed SOPs to meet both site and REB standards for accreditation. This is pre-accreditation. It doesn't reflect the small number of clinical trial sites within our organization that had implemented SOPs from other organizations such as N2. I want to note also that the REB did not adopt the N2 CAREB SOPs. And as you can see, we required a number of new SOPs in order to meet the standards. This is post-accreditation or pre-submission of accreditation package, but following the SOP map for development of all the standards. The sites that are using the N2 SOPs will need to modify theirs accordingly. Those SOPs provided great background information, but we're missing some elements required for the standards. N2 SOPs are intended for clinical trials, and our SOPs encompass all types of research that we conduct within our organizations. So our SOPs really needed to reflect that. With our SOPs complete, we were ready for our on-site assessment. The visit opened with an introductory meeting and closed on day 3 with reviewers providing us with preliminary feedback. Within a short period of time, we received a report from the reviewers, and once we responded, our accreditation package was submitted to the Accreditation Council for review. And we received word on March 25th that we were accredited. So what are the next steps now that we're operating under an accredited HRPP? We have initiated the SOP training process, starting with our HRPP staff, and that has been completed. We have started site training with our research coordinators that are subject to the site SOPs, as well as the overall HRPP SOPs. The REB will initiate the training of their members, and our quality assurance audits of both sites and our HRPP will begin within the next few months. To close, having an accredited HRPP operational during a global pandemic greatly helped our response preparedness, as we were ready to provide our research community with guidance throughout this crisis. So I'll hand it over to Janice, and thank you very much.
I wish to thank our speakers for their excellent presentations. If you have any questions for Alex or Jacquelyn, you can reach them through their emails presented on this slide. Also, feel free to visit our website at www.hracanada.org for more information on HRPP accreditation or to apply for accreditation. From everyone at HRA Canada, thank you for watching our presentation and see you next time.